think we're good. By God, I think we're good, Jordan.
Welcome to Caleb Can't Read. I'm Jordan Rabel.
I'm Caleb Terrence.
So, the original episode that we were going to do here, we tried it a couple different times, and basically, the guy is enough of a monster that we had kind of a difficult time trying to figure out exactly how we were going to approach this.
I mean, mostly I just bombed it, to be completely honest.
Look, you had a reason for getting drunk. The guy is a bad guy. It was like, hey, every time something
like
shitty,
dramatic. Like,
no, it's like, hey, if anytime something shitty comes up, take a drink. Yeah, of course.
I mean, I don't really understand how that'd be at a different pace than what I just do while we do this, but
Sure, maybe. But you know what? Here's the thing. I didn't have a good, a closer kind of author for this first season. We're going to go 10 authors per season, in however many episodes that needs to be done. But basically, we're going to take a bit to rethink how we're going to approach this, and then put in that guy for last.
So also, we tried getting that one down for like, I don't know, what that was the past 2 days. Was it 2 or 3 days?
They
2 or 3 days
they meld together.
2 or 3 days of failure. Yeah. No, that was Thursday. Yeah, no, that's.
I've actually got 30 years of failure under my belt.
But not in podcasting yet. We're working on it.
No, it's only been a couple months of failure.
So we had all those days of failure. So we come to do today's episode, and we got through it, and it was good, and everything was fucking fine. And then we go through, and for some fucking reason, it clips out weirdly.
Yeah, it clipped out about the first couple.
And we cannot, for the fucking life of us, figure out why in the fuck it's not even the intro. It like clips out like later on and shit.
It's because to you and me, we think that like this is expensive equipment, which granted, it is to people
to you
like
and me. Relatively, it is expensive equipment.
It is.
Yes.
Yes, queen. But let me tell you, it was clearly we need to be putting a couple $1,000s more.
No, we need like $6,000 of like a soundboard, and we need to completely coat the room.
Bullshit. But basically, what we're saying is this: we're going to go over the beginning information that we had. We're going to just clip it to the rest of the episode that we already had recorded that apparently was fucking fine. It didn't matter. This fucking thing was just like, oh yeah, that's okay.
We've been on this for a while and we're very tired. But
so I'm just going to go through. I mean, I only clipped out like the first paragraph and a half, I'd say. So I'm going to read off that information. But basically what I'm saying is this: to catch y'all up to speed, the person that we were originally going to do today, we're going to leave that guy, not for the next, but for the one after this. We're going to just kind of switch places. It's going to be okay.
For who we're doing today, though, who we started doing and then chunked out the beginning part, the whole point of this is you going over something, educating me about something, and then my reaction to it initially. So instead of like trying to like bullshit that's the first reaction, we're just going to have him catch you up.
We're just going to read it.
Well, we're just going to have Jordan.
Still information. Hey, it's an educational.
We're going to have Jordan read it out without trying to bullshit it, and then we'll just plop it right the fuck there, so you know what's going on.
That's right. Yeah. This was supposed to be the breather episode after the guy that we initially went over,
which was fucked up of you, by the way.
I liked it.
Now that it's been spoiled.
You know what's really too bad though is, I mean, all the colorful racist humor that you had in that first 5 minutes of the initial, like once we did this, man, that's all gone. That's too bad. All the
Go ahead and just pick it up.
Let's get started, shall we?
I'm a little bit slow. Usually at this point, like, I'm trailing off.
Usually.
No. Usually at this point in, like, if this were at the end of the podcast, which is where my drunk level right now should be, I'd just be stumbling over everything. I'm easy prey right now. Be a sportsman. Don't do this to me.
Prey.
Fuck you.
There you are, just sleeping on my floor. I'm just looking like a snack.
Okay, I'm easy prey, and you have poor judgment when you're at this level, so...
Yeah, I'm with you.
Well, I'm not really helping the...
Oh, Michael Frank. Michael Frank, born in 1851, was the sixth of 9 children from Landau, Germany. He was a prominent businessman and a shareholder in a multitude of companies when he met the love of his life, Alice Stern. She was born in Frankfurt, 1865, same place where she and Michael would meet. She herself received some pretty good schooling, writing on tuitions before graduating at the age of 15. From the time Michael arrived in Frankfurt in 1879 to the time he married 20-year-old Alice in 1886, the 35-year-old Michael Frank had started his career in banking, eventually establishing the Michael Frank banking business sometime between 1896 or 97, about 10 years after their marriage. Together, Michael and Alice had 4 children, Robert, Otto, Herbert, and their little sister Helene. But we're going to focus on Otto. Otto Heinrich Frank was born May 12, 1889. Now, the Franks did what they could to make their children very well-rounded. I mean, painfully upper middle class. Their kids learned how to ride on horseback. They took music lessons. There was a photo of Otto as a kid playing what I think was a cello. Took their whole family to the theater and opera, all that shit. Well, Otto would eventually study economics at Heidelberg between 1908 and 1909, before working at Macy's in New York City for summer break through a friend he met in college. Unfortunately, Otto's time in New York was brief, as his father, Michael Frank, died in September of 1909. Alice took over the family business, with her now grown-up sons helping her out. But of course, just a handful of years later, was World War I. The entire Frank family enlisted. The boys all became frontline soldiers, while Alice Frank and her daughter Helene became Red Cross nurses. Otto, in particular, joined other mathematicians and number crunchers for the artillery unit. He even participated in one of World War I's most important battles, the Battle of the Somme. Now, as far as the Battle of the Somme goes, it's better known as one of the bloodiest battles in history, as I'm sure you'll know.
I don't know that one, though.
Over the course of
they don't
about...
have World War I on History Channel that much. They just have 2, so...
Just go watch The Great War.
Well, I mean, you can't watch it on History anymore. Now
no, it's as it turns out, it was all aliens. So. And then the Greys came, and they scooped up everyone. Yeah, it's fucking trash.
Ice Road truck... What?
These trucking aliens are really going through it, man. That's crazy.
When do the aliens come?
Well, over the course of about 4.5 months, more than 1 million people were either wounded or killed. More specifically, 1,666,289. Thereabouts. It's a guess.
That's a big number.
And Otto was all a part of it. Shit, at the Battle of Cambrai, he even fought against his French cousins, and 2 of them died in that battle.
Oh, shit.
Hopefully he didn't fucking see them. That would have been fucking rough.
I feel like, I don't know. That would have been mentioned.
Yeah, probably.
Or maybe not. Yeah. Or maybe not mentioned, definitely.
True. Did you see Francois over there? No. No. Do you want to know his last words?
I didn't even know they were there.
Well, the whole Frank family
I can't
actually
fucking tell them apart.
Good old white racism. Love it. Well, the whole Frank family actually survived World War I, and Otto was awarded the Iron Cross for his service to Germany. Ooh. Took Otto a while to get back home, though. The German army had apparently conscripted the help of a couple horses from a local farmer, and the horses survived the war. So, Otto took the time to bring the fucking horses back. Instead of going out to see his family, he's just like, Old Man Johnson, here's copper and tinder. You know?
This is the most wholesome shit you've ever, like, not even just within our podcast. Like,
of course.
This is the most wholesome shit you've ever discussed with
Everyone survived, you know? It's like, nice. Anyway, whether of their own accord or being told to do it, the Frank family put, like, a lot of money into war bonds. But since Germany lost, that money was now fucking gone. So the Franks were doing what they could to try and keep the family business open. But it was during their hardships here in Frankfurt that Otto met the love of his life, Edith Hollander. Now, the Hollander family itself is pretty interesting. They can trace their heritage as far back as the early 1700s. When the family moved from Amsterdam to Germany about 100 years later, their last name became Hollander, which is literally German for Hollander. Someone from friggin' Holland.
Who would have fucking guessed, man? Like, what do you...
I'm Johnny Whiteman. Maybe that's where
What's
Johnny...
that German for? White man?
Maybe that's where Johnny Utah from Point Break got his name. Just like, you know, I'm actually a Ramirez. Shut up, Johnny Utah. It's just the worst last name. Don't tell me you've never seen Point Break.
I'm about to tell you I've never seen Point Break.
I'm about to tell you what we're going to do after this.
Whatever, you fucking lied to me yesterday. I don't even want to hear about it. We were like browsing through movies. I was like, hey man, you ever seen I Saw the Devil? You're like, whatever, it's fucking overrated. I think it's stupid. 20 minutes later.
Yeah, I never saw it.
Yeah, fuck you.
No, I thought it was a different movie with, like, I think Philip Seymour Hoffman or something, and instead there's Korean guys on it, and I was like, oh, I made a mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I never watched it. Oh, I'm thinking of The Devil You Know. Oh. It wasn't very good. Anyway, so.
Let me guess, you haven't seen that one either.
I did, and
just like how you haven't read most of the books in this library.
What do you mean most? Yeah, it's most.
Book Garage.
Yeah, it's most. So Edith was born from Rosa and Abraham, who was an industrial businessman on January 16th, 1900 in Aachen, what was then the Prussian state. She was the youngest of two older brothers, Julius and Walter, and her sister Bettina, who tragically died of appendicitis at the age of 16, as it do in the 1900s. Now, Otto and Edith married at Edith's hometown of Aachen on Otto's 36th birthday on May 12th, 1925. Edith was 25. What do you think? 11 years. Yeah. That's fine.
Yeah.
It's all fine.
It's better than we were before. So that's baby steps.
Yeah. As we get closer to the modern age, that gap will considerably lessen, you know?
Yeah.
Like Dante, married at 12. So,
oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, Edith's father wouldn't live too much longer than seeing their wedding. On January 19th, 1927, Abraham Hollander passed away in his hometown of Aachen. Fortunately, he was able to see at least one of his grandkids born. Together, Otto and Edith had two children, Margot Betty Frank, born February 16th, 1926, and their youngest daughter, born July 12th, 1929, and the subject of today's episode, Annalise Marie Frank, better known as Anne Frank.
Oh. Wait, I thought...
Yeah, she's a children's author. She's a child.
How could she do that if she couldn't? I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to... No, that's played out. I'm not going there. Excuse me. Everyone knows what that was going to be, and I'm ashamed of myself.
Why don't you explain it?
Huh?
Huh?
Oh, you know, the classic where you mistake her for Helen Keller.
Yeah.
I'm
I do remember asking some unnamed person, like, if you could fight anybody from history, who would it be? And those were the two people that they picked. And I was like, why would you do that? And they're like, I want to win. I thought it would be interesting. Like, yeah, I'd get my ass kicked by Hemingway. That'd be fine. I know I'd lose. But hey, I got my teeth knocked out by Hemingway. Instead, they're just like, no, man, I'm there to win. I'm there to win it. I'm getting that fucking belt. They're going to beat up a deaf
That's so...
mute girl.
You could pick literally any child. Why do you have to pick ones...
Because it's from history. Why not?
They're all the dead children are in history. Oh, man. My bad.
This is going to get worse. Now, Margot was actually pretty fucking bright.
Man, fuck you for flipping this on me. Like, what do you... I wasn't even going to say, like, oh, he's going to flip it at some point. Like, I just...
No, that was my intention.
You bastard.
She was a star student up until Hitler got elected chancellor, and all of a sudden...
Why is that?
Jews can't go to school anymore. Huh. It's weird. Well, the Franks did what they could with the struggling Michael Frank banking business, but unfortunately, by the time 1934 rolled around, theirs and hundreds of other businesses suffered closure at the hands of the great German economic collapse of the 1930s. It was during the economic collapse that the Nazis, of course, rose to power. Seeing a lot of anti-Semitic laws on the rise, Otto scouted ahead to Amsterdam to make sure they had accommodations and an opportunity to set up a business, where he was able to start one in the spice trade. Edith Frank then moved to Amsterdam in December of 1933 with Margot to join Otto, while Edith's mother, Rosa, and little Anne followed in February of the following year when Anne was just 4 years old. And Edith never really adjusted well there. I mean, yeah, she's a fucking refugee fleeing the Nazis, but I mean, she couldn't get the hang of the language. I can't blame her there. I remember going to Amsterdam and the all the jokes I heard online about it's not a real language, they're actually just doing it to make fun of tourists, totally sounded legit when you hear it over the intercom. They just beep, 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 da, and it was like, oh come on, this is fucking fake. This is made up. Y'all just joshing me. I know this.
I mean, yeah, props though. I can't speak anything but English, even slightly, or even struggle with the different.
You don't need to. That's the king language. You don't need anything else.
It's super not.
Yeah, I've had my struggles. I have had to ask directions so many times to people in foreign lands where I'm just like, how do you get there? And they're just like thinking back, like, why don't you like a left, a right? And I'm just like, if that's the best you can do, thanks. You know, it's like learn English, dude. I mean, I'm in France.
I got like just barely got the tip in on fucking trying to learn Spanish, and then gave up when everybody I worked with got just very mad at me for not rolling my R's exactly on. And then if I did get it exactly on, they'd be like, no, that is not correct. And I'd be like, well, fuck, what is it? He's like, that's not Argentinian Spanish. I'd be like, dude, yeah, I'm not going to learn the exact...
You had the dueling Spaniards, didn't you? Yeah, dude, you can't, it's different between like, you know, Mexican Spanish and, you know, Spain Spanish and even their own dialects of Barcelona Spanish. And then you got Argentinians, Chileans, you know, Hungarians.
I got so pissed off about, I was like, guys, like I've never once criticized any of your English.
I just want to learn Spanish, dude.
I know what you're saying to me. If it's not perfect, I don't give a shit. Like... But no.
It's. I mean, they're going to. This is the only time that they're going to be able to hold power over you, and they're going to use that.
Like, fuck you, Caleb.
Can't roll your R's. Can you not roll your R's?
There's plenty. Well, no, they worked with me. There's plenty of times to call me a fucking idiot.
Yeah, that's like that's fair. That's very fair. Well, I won't go into that.
Nope.
Well, Margot too had issues with the Dutch language, but being as bright as she was, quickly adapted and once again became a star pupil at her local Montessori school. Did not know Montessori was even around back then, actually.
What the fuck is Montessori?
Yeah, it's just kind of like
I've seen that shit like on
it's just a different
Montessori.
Yeah, Montessori chickens.
Like the chicken. Yeah, like the
chicken. Yeah. I'm not going to explain it to you because I don't know, really. Well, up until the Nazis occupied Holland and said Jews couldn't go to school again, she had to quit. Oh. Now, Edith did make friends with other German refugees while she was there, but that just made her miss home even more. It also didn't help that she remained in constant contact with friends and family back in Germany. Her two brothers, Julius and Walter, fled to Massachusetts in 1938, just narrowly missing the beginning of World War II. And they both stayed... Yeah.
Very good.
They both stayed in the U.S. to the end of their days. Julius died in New York on October 4th, 1967, from dropping 10 floors in an elevator.
Can you...
Final Destination.
Can you repeat that?
He dropped 10 floors in an elevator.
After he missed the war thing, or is this a different person?
No, this is 1967.
So they got out, they missed World War II, and they got out in time, and then he fell down an elevator shaft.
Yeah, but I mean, it was like, that's also 30 years later. I mean, it's, you know.
Oh.
You know, it's...
Okay, that's the part I missed.
Yeah,
okay, that's not as bad.
Right. And Walter also passed away in New York on September 19th, 1968. So
which one of you brought Anne? I thought you were bringing Anne.
I won't go too much into their lives here, but they did everything they could to ensure the rest of their family could come over to America. But once the Nazis got a hold of Amsterdam, it was all over.
Wait, stop the boat. We'll do everything we can. Stop the fucking boat. Don't worry.
It was definitely a good thing that they fled, though, because on top of being Jewish, Walter was very openly gay. Oh. So that would have doubly, like, just double down. He's foreign and gay, and he's also a Jew. And
why did you go to shanty that? Just list it off.
I like shanties. That's not shanty. That's a show tune.
I mean,
fucking idiot.
My bad. I don't know
Jesus
the difference.
Christ.
Hey, I don't know the difference.
Jesus.
I don't like either of them. Okay, I like the shanties.
A lot of laughs here on the Anne Frank episode.
Yeah, we're a little bit too after the failure of the past 2 days to do that asshole. I really tried to hype myself up to be chipper and have energy, and this is not the space.
This is the come down episode.
This is really being a bastard. While we go through this girl's diary.
Oh, I'll get there. And while the kid, did you not know she had a diary? Did you know that?
What?
While the kids were no longer able to attend school, the Franks had a fairly sizable and diverse library, so the kids were still able to teach themselves. And Margot was very involved with their community, too. She sometimes volunteered at her local synagogue. She was a part of a Dutch Zionist group where she planned to go to Palestine and become a midwife. And Edith really wanted Anne to emulate her sister, but Anne was more, I guess you could say, aloof. She didn't always get along with her mother and was more of a daddy's girl, unlike her sister. It was in May of 1940 that all Jewish companies had to be given over to the state. To keep his business going, Otto signed his business to one of his employees, a 31-year-old Austrian woman named Miep Gies, and her husband, Jan, changing the name of the company to Gies & Company. Otto's other confidants in this plan were three other people, Johannes Kleiman, his bookkeeper, Bep Voskiel, his secretary, and Victor Kugler, essentially his assistant. So basically you've got Miep that owns the company, Johannes, Bep, and Victor are going to be the people that really kind of help him out during these days. Am I going to have
to remember all this for the test later?
Testes. Otto still ran things, but from behind the scenes.
Good save.
And Otto could see the signs of what was coming, too. So he tried to get the papers accepted for his family to emigrate to America, but unfortunately nothing came through by the end of 1941 when the Nazis declared war on America and America closed down its borders.
Wait, they didn't even take I didn't know that. I didn't know we closed our borders. Like, I mean, even if somebody were able to get over here, then they would be... We took refugees and shit, right? Like, I would assume... Oh, no. Oh, no.
You think we help people? No. Come on. To be fair, we weren't the only ones doing that. No, we were very much...
It doesn't make it less shitty. I don't know.
No. We were extremely bad. As a matter of fact, Otto really had, like, everything that he needed to do. He was fast acting on it. It was America that pretty much were like, nah, and they just kind of, like, shut it down anyway. We didn't want to do anything too political. We are not in World War II at this point. We don't have...
I thought you said they declared war.
They declared war. Germany declared war. Yeah. It was a world war without America in it.
But Germany declared war against America.
Yeah, but we didn't accept.
You can do that?
You just deny that friend request.
Okay, if that worked, then why didn't... Never mind.
Yeah.
Never mind. Go on.
We pretty much figured, like,
I didn't know you could just be like, no. Like, darn it.
Yeah, kind of. Like, we weren't expecting the Japanese to come, do anything.
We're bringing you freedom. No. Damn. Damn it.
And we would essentially use that later. We would make sure to ask countries if they wanted our assistance before we would just go in there and start fucking rip-roaring drunk.
Start helping them establish a democracy.
Of course. That's why I said.
That's okay.
Just running through, gunning down democracy on every wall. Just fucking splattering democracy across
and
the
making
fucking
sure
walls.
that a democratic leader is put in place, yes.
Made sure that there are no... And you know what? All right, so tragically... Basically, yeah, we were very concerned about our image. We didn't want more. We were doing more things as a industrial complex kind of thing. Like, we were really trying to be more of like, capitalists, basically. We didn't want to not be in bed with anybody. If we declared war back, it might fuck stuff up with their allies and, still shipping steel to Italians and stuff. You know what I mean?
We're being pussies.
Yes.
Okay.
So tragically, Edith's mother, Rosa Hollander, passed away January 29th, 1942, just 5 months before the Franks would be forced into hiding. And I cannot imagine how much worse this whole ordeal would have been had they had to keep this 75-year-old woman around. That could have been a lot fucking worse, honestly.
Really worse than little kids? Like,
I don't know what her situation was.
You can keep a fucking old lady more quiet than a little kid.
Yeah. But
there you go.
everything else, I mean, health-wise, I don't know.
Yes.
A kid falls down the stairs, they scrape their knee, and they go, wee! You know, but like an old lady does it, and she's just... You might be a little fucked, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Anyway.
On June 12th, 1942, Otto and Edith took Anne to a bookstore for her 13th birthday, where she found a little red and white checkered autograph book with a lock in front. She fell in love with it, got it, and in her first entry wrote, June 12th, 1942. This is going to be my best Anne Frank voice.
Don't.
I'm just a slightly higher pitch.
Just read it like a normal...
I hope you will be able to confide everything to you, as I have never been able to confide in anyone, and I hope you will be a great source of comfort and support. There, was that so bad?
Well, that's just your normal voice. You didn't do it.
No,
That's not a challenge. That's not a challenge. It's good. I like it.
You want it higher?
No.
Do you need me to make it more Dutch and or, Jewish?
No. I don't want to know your interpretations of either of those, especially not the latter. Okay?
She also made a laundry list of restrictions placed on the Jewish population in Holland. Quote, Jews were required to wear a yellow star. Jews were required to turn in their bicycles. Jews were forbidden to ride trams. Jews were forbidden to ride in cars, even their own. Jews were required to do their shopping between 3 and 5 p.m. Jews were required to frequent only Jewish-owned barbershops and beauty salons. Jews were forbidden to be on the streets between 8 p.m. and 6 a.m. Jews were forbidden to go to theaters, cinemas, or any other form of entertainment. Jews were forbidden to use swimming pools, tennis courts, hockey fields, or any other athletic fields. They had hockey?
I
don't know. That's
That's
the
what's
first
grabbing
time
your attention right now?
Jews were forbidden to go rowing. Jews were forbidden to take part in any athletic activity.
What were they allowed to do?
Well, I could tell you what they couldn't do. Jews were forbidden to sit in their gardens. They were forbidden to sit in their gardens or those of their friends after 8 p.m. Jews were forbidden to visit Christians in their homes. Jews were required to attend Jewish schools, etc.
Well, now I see now I understand when people are saying, like, hey, man, look, if you're telling me to wear a mask, that's kind of similar. Now I get it. You okay? You going to be able to get that beer down, brother? I didn't mean to do that, do you?
These fucking assholes.
That really just opened up my eyes.
Man, can you imagine if masks really brought down the oxygen levels in your breathing? Just kids on Halloween night every year just fucking passing out in front of cars. Just like, oh God, look out for the werewolf. God, these fucking pussies.
Yeah, no,
man.
totally.
Jesus Christ.
Now I get this. The similarities in between Nazi Germany and just making sure that everybody doesn't spread a deadly virus during a pandemic. It's very clear. If you knew about this, why didn't you tell me before? I've just been being an ass this whole time to people.
There I've been just quietly judging people the entire time, and it's like, no, I need to be more outspoken, loud and proud, brother. I'm queer. I'm here. Oh, no, we're doing a mask thing, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay, sorry. I was doing it more from your perspective.
If you don't have a bit, just don't have a bit.
There wasn't a bit. I just got caught in the moment of
all right.
The everyday Caleb.
All right, go on, crack another beer.
I've got to finish this one. Say something.
Talk
about your feelings.
My feelings? I don't have much of them, Jordan. I'm already 3 deep. That's why I have these.
No, that works. That was good. All right, give me another.
You want a cider, IPA, or the good old Pibist?
Cider.
Okay.
Fill it for me. Now, knowing that as soon as the travesties of the war were out of eyesight, people would start denying how bad things really were. Thank you, sweetheart. Mm-hmm. The Dutch government made an announcement on the radio that asked anyone to start a diary to document their experiences. Anne starts hers with a bit about her life, namely her school life. She gives a very apt description of each of her classmates, some of which had to be later reduced to initials because Anne was so mean. She's 13.
Yeah.
DQ.
Good.
DQ is a very nervous girl who's always forgetting things, so the teachers keep giving her extra homework as a punishment. She's very kind, especially to GZ. ES talks so much it isn't funny. She's always touching your hair or fiddling with you with your buttons when she asks you something. They say she can't stand me, but I don't care because I don't like her much either. JR, I could write a whole book about her. Jay is a detestable, sneaky, stuck-up, two-faced gossip who thinks she's so grown up.
I am going to say for the record that going over the dead from Nazi Germany schoolgirl's diary that we are going over makes me extremely fucking uncomfortable.
Don't ruin the ending. Wait, which part?
Everyone knows the end. Everyone knows this. No, what do you mean which part? No, the entire part that we're going over her diary makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, it is a diary, and you're not supposed to really...
Just go over the important details. Don't go over, like, that shit. I don't know.
But my favorite one is this.
Why did we have to... Why did anyone publish all that?
We'll get to that on the next episode. GZ is the prettiest girl in our class. She has a nice face, but is a bit stupid. I think they're going to hold her back a year, but of course, I haven't told her that. And then underneath that entry, written by Anne at an unspecified later date. To my great surprise, GZ wasn't held back a year after all.
Yeah, I surprised a lot of people then, too. So.
I'm sure she would have had a lot to say about you. Despite Anne feeling a connection to some of her classmates, she says that she never really felt like she had a single friend. She had groups that she would hang out with, but there was no single person that she felt like she could really connect with.
Hey, Anne, do you want to come play with it? They just look over, she just, like, looks angrily at them and starts scribbling in a notebook, like, okay, never mind.
What's that little notebook that she has, say, Death Note on the front? She listens to a lot of My Chemical Romance.
That weep shit out of here.
Well, because of this whole thing that she felt that she couldn't really connect with anyone, she says she'll make her diary... she says that she's naming her diary Kitty, her one true friend that she can confide in. And it's named after an actress. Or Kitty, like Kitty Cat.
Like Kitty Cat.
Yeah, it's a shorthand for an actress, and she loved movie stars and shit, so it's some actress nobody's going to remember. It's okay. But you know what? Once she's been stuck in the annex for a while, Anne starts talking about how much she misses her friends. So I guess she was just full of shit. What can I say? Now, as I mentioned before, Otto saw the signs.
Did you just say Anne Frank was full of shit?
Yeah, she's 13.
That doesn't worry you at all that we're about to broadcast you saying Anne Frank was full of shit?
What am I supposed to say?
Not that? Nothing?
No, she's...
You're supposed to go through that and then not say that and then go to the next thing to say. You don't always have to... You could just not say things. There's always the option of not saying a thing.
No, I'm going to say how I really feel. Give me a couple beers, Steve. We'll talk about other things.
Careful
about other
6%. Please take it easy on the Anne Frank episode, please.
Now, as I mentioned before, Otto saw the signs. He knew what was coming. Shit, he'd fled this problem once before. He knew there wouldn't be any safe way out of the country, and he knew the Nazis would be coming to round them up soon. So he told his family...
Ain't no rich people, Sound of Music ass shit gonna happen with his family. Yeah, no, they're fucked. Like
that family was also very fucked. Also, I mean, the musical didn't really delve into that. But anyway, as it turns out, no one was really safe from the Nazis. Unless, you know, you were a Nazi.
I'm so glad we don't have to deal with them anymore. Thank God.
No, they're around telling us to wear masks.
Well, if the leftists have their way.
So, Otto tells his family, July 16th, 1942, we're going to hide in a spacious little attic space that, while narrow, is about 3 stories of space for the whole family, hidden behind a bookcase that swings open like a door, hiding the entranceway. And it's all connected to the store, so my employees can help us get food.
It's pretty baller for a terrible situation.
Oh, yeah. So here's the way that the Opekta factory was set up. It had 3 floors. The first floor is where all the spice mills and distribution was happening. And the next 2 floors were offices. Thing is, they blocked off a portion of the back of each floor. Like, just completely drywalled it up. Or whatever the, situation was there. And you couldn't verify how long the building was supposed to be, because the back of the building itself was completely enclosed by 4 other buildings. And by the way, the reason this worked so well was because the building itself, as well as all the others along the street, were built 300 years prior to this. There were no blueprints that said, hey, a quarter of the building is missing. And all the buildings in Amsterdam are tall and skinny and very disorienting, so it's not like you'd you'd notice where the building stops and the next one begins. So basically, there was an extra room behind each floor of the Opekta building with a staircase and everything. It was roomier than people think. Now,
It's pretty cool.
yeah, no, I won't say it's lavish, but, everyone always says, Anne Frank was in the cupboard, and it's like, she could stretch her legs quite a bit, but it was, I'll get into how shitty this situation still was.
Well, it doesn't really need to be specified. Just giving her more legroom doesn't mean she's not hiding from fucking Nazis. Like, you're okay.
You know that she had 3 floors.
It wasn't even that bad.
Really?
She had room for a whole bedroll.
There was a room for a whole other family and another guy in there. My God.
Here we fucking go.
Now, knowing she was going away for a while, Anne Frank gave her neighbor friend Tootsie Coopers a tea set, a book, and her tin of marbles, saying, "I'm worried about my marbles because I'm worried they might fall into the wrong hands. Could you keep them safe for me for a little while?" So the day was set. July 16th, 1942, would be when the Frank family would go into hiding. Unfortunately, about 10 days before that, on July 5th, Margot received a letter telling her to report to a labor camp. So they settled on having to leave the very next day. And the night before they left for the secret annex, an upstairs neighbor, who was an old and lonely, old lady, came down and hung out with them till about 10 or 11 at night, not taking the hint that they've got some pretty important shit to do in the morning. So the Franks then set up their home. Anyway, I was just... and I was there and I saw the Jahuli.
Sometimes it's okay to be a dick and just tell an old bat to fuck off.
Mm-hmm. They don't want to raise too many suspicions, set off in many alarms, but it's like...
I don't want to make any enemies tonight. Any more enemies than literally every single one of my neighbors. And everyone in the country.
Your family ain't too bad, but I get the feeling... trying to kick me out of here. No. Let me go. I've been
reading some interesting things about you guys, and
let me go sit on the fucking tea kettle. It's fine.
Fuck.
Yeah. So the Franks then set up their home as if they'd left the country in a hurry, leaving a letter to their neighbors to please take care of their cat Morty while they flee to Switzerland. But as Jews were not allowed to ride the public transportation, they had to walk with all their shit for 2.5 miles. I cannot imagine how fucking frightening that must have been. According to Anne, as they were hiking to the hiding spot, people wanted to stop and help the Franks get to wherever they were going, but had to keep driving for fear that the Nazis would spot them helping Jews.
Look, guys, we gotta be incognito. We have 4 bags on us right now.
Well, the Franks made it to Opekta.
That's so fucking sketch.
It's 2.5 miles. It's like just any fucking second could just be that time. That's so fucking terrifying. And dude, let me tell you, the streets in Amsterdam are very small. There's not I hope he doesn't see us from across the street. If you're across the street from somebody, they're 20 feet away, at most. It's terrifying shit. Well, the Franks made it to Opekta without incident, made their way to the 3rd floor, and got behind the bookcase that acted as a door to their hiding spot. With the help of Victor Kugler, Johannes Kleiman, Miep Gies and her husband Jan, and Bep Voskiel, and her father, also named Johannes. Don't worry.
What?
It's just a lot of names. The Franks would stay in this space above the Opekta factory for over 2 years. Mm-hmm. Now, the Franks were hidden away for about a week before they were joined by the Van Pels, another family. The father of the family, Herman Van Pels, was actually a business partner of Otto Frank's, and he was joined by his wife, August, and their son, Peter, who was 15 at this point. And, they all got together fairly well, and Anne mentions in her diary that they've got a pretty comfy setup. She knew it was better than a lot of hiding places that she'd heard about, but the biggest issue was boredom. Them being in the middle of an occupied country during a world war meant the only thing to listen to on the radio was the news. But they couldn't just have a radio on them. They had to be quiet. So the only source of entertainment for them
You want to see if it's not Nazi shit this time? Yeah, fuck it.
I heard they're releasing another Rick and Morty season. The only source of entertainment for them was when one of their caretakers would turn on the radio for them on the other side of the wall. So if somebody had to pretend that they were listening to the radio or accidentally left it on or something, and walked away, they had to be reasonable and turn it off at just an unspecified time. So you're having to listen to all this shit just muffled through the fucking wall and just trying to be quiet, seeing if any help is coming. Oh, and by the way, coughing at night was forbidden, which sucks because at the time Margot was sick with a cold.
Well, I'd be fucked.
Yeah.
You'd be fucked.
I'd be definitely fucked.
You'd be fucked. Dude, you wake me up at night.
What was that?
You wake me up. Not even just a coughing, man. I'll be sleeping in here. You will be sleeping with your wife.
Yep.
And it's not even the snoring, Jordan. I can get over that. One of you will rip such mad ass that I am jolted awake.
That's both of us. To be fair, that might be the dog, too.
It is alarming. But I do feel comfortable.
I'm just going to come in here and just like, hey, sweetheart, making sure that you're feeling safe. Just rip ass in here and close the door.
Just like, oh, well, clearly I can snore and fart as much as I want.
Well, the Franks and the Van Pels lived with... No, that's disgusting.
No. Both of us
gross.
Would be fucked.
It's disgusting. It's very unguest-like.
Very unguest-like?
Yeah, go outside if you want to have a fart.
I'm not a guest here, Jordan.
You're a roommate that doesn't pay rent.
I have squatter's rights at this point. Okay?
It's finders keepers law, all right?
Yeah, no.
I found these blankets in your closet.
If you move out of here, you'll be moving several boxes of my own belongings. Okay?
Kind of figured.
Where are the Caleb boxes?
We have considered just getting you an ottoman to set in the corner to just like open it up and there's all your shit in there.
I'm gonna start buying furniture for your home, and then my girlfriend is gonna be very mad when she comes over and finds out. Like,
what's this Fisher Price couch doing? Oh, that's Caleb's.
I've got a bunch of poofs. Hey, Caleb, we were talking about getting a bunch of poofs. You said that'd be a great idea. I was like, yeah. Jordan, this is it's nice.
The Franks and the Van Pels lived with one another with relative ease for about 4 months before there was another addition to the secret annex. With the approval of Otto Frank, Fritz Pfeffer was granted access to join the two families in hiding on November 16th, 1942. Now, Fritz's past is very depressing, so get ready. That's the bump here for this episode.
Oh, it's getting worse.
I mean, can it?
They're hiding in a studio apartment?
Essentially.
A studio apartment split into several levels.
It's a townhouse. Fritz's past is pretty depressing, so just keep this in mind when I say that he didn't get along with a peppy 13-year-old Dutch girl, all right? I mean, this guy's life was a fucking mess, dude. He saw what was going on in Germany with the Nazis' rise to power and sent his 11-year-old son, Werner, to England to live with his uncle. His son later moved to America in 1945, changing his name from Werner Pfeffer to Peter Pepper. It's not any better.
Werner Pfeffer is far too silly.
I will be Peter Pepper. He opened a popular office supply company under that name. I never heard of it, but there it is. Now, almost all of Fritz's siblings were systematically killed by Nazis not too far from where he was every single time.
Sick, each time I'm dogging on his name.
He was just narrowly getting fucking missed each time. After Kristallnacht on November 9th, 1938, he quickly got the fuck out of Germany and set up a dental practice in Amsterdam. He was actually Miep's dentist, but she had invited Fritz to a house party the Franks threw years before, so they knew each other prior to this. Now, Fritz had escaped Nazi capture before, and he knew he had to escape again, but he also knew crossing the border was something he likely wouldn't get lucky with twice. So he asked Miep if she knew of any good places to hunker down for a while. And as mentioned before, she asked Otto, who figured it was probably a good idea to have a doctor with them while they're stuck in a wall. A lot of people a lot of, medical doctors will dog on dentists a lot, being like, you're a doctor of teeth, but it's like they actually, believe it or not, have to go through typically more they have to go through more schooling.
Sick, bud, can you do teeth?
Yeah, they go through more schooling. They just don't end up practicing the same amount on actual body stuff, but they have to know that whole thing because they can't just fuck around in your mouth and then hope that you don't ingest a whole bunch of I'm gonna fuck around in your mouth. They can't just do that and then just assume everything's gonna be hunky dory when you're swallowing like fucking pieces of teeth and shit, you know? They have to know their shit.
I mean, fuck, in their situation, a vet would be rad.
Yeah. Oh, it really would.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Well, and here's the thing. I don't know if an orthopedic surgeon was even a thing back then. I think a dentist may have just done all that, especially in fucking Eastern Bloc of Europe. I don't know.
All right, guys. Well, first time, but here we go.
I mean, fucking, he might know how to do stitches. Fuck it, you know?
Probably.
Yeah.
Well, better than any of them can, yes.
The mom's pretty good at sewing, you know, I guess. I don't know. I don't want to think about it.
You ever gotten stitches?
Yes. Yeah.
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 Where?
I know I have. Oh, my back and in my mouth.
In your ball sack, right? Like right up the middle?
Right at that vasectomy. No, man, they just stapled that shit.
Oh.
They're like, it's like a wet paper bag. Just
still,
fucking...
Still in, right? Give me a magnet.
Why do you ask? Have you? Have you had stitches?
Actually, no, dude.
Oh. I mean, it sucks, but as long as you're not looking at it.
Wait, no, yeah, but it barely counts. I just had like finger bits put back.
Oh, bits of your finger put back?
Yeah. Yeah, I got them off at one point when I was younger.
Your bits of your finger off at one point, and then you just...
No, yeah, just like parts of it were gone, and then they put it back, and then if you're young enough, it'll go back.
I'm missing a story there, but we'll get into that later. Anyway. Mother, I woke up and the skin fairy visited again. Like, what the fuck, dude?
The skin fairy, mother!
All right, anyway, at this point, I don't know if they were actually formally married or anything, but Fritz was in a relationship with a woman named Charlotte Coletta at this point. And you see, Fritz was the Jewish one. Charlotte wasn't. Wanting to not force her to live in a wall with 7 other people, he volunteered to go himself, with Meep visiting Charlotte weekly to run messages between the two. Cleverly, Fritz never told Charlotte exactly where he hid away, just in case of the common Nazi interference. But you see, Fritz, being German...
That's pretty smart.
Yeah. Well, just tell me where you're going. Don't worry about it. Are you going to that club down the street? Okay, don't worry.
On list of my priorities right now, like my safety versus pissing you off.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Guess where I'm at.
But you see, Fritz, being German, he actually needed help with his Dutch, especially in writing his secret letters to his wife. Otto, strangely, put a stop to Margot helping Fritz write them pretty quickly, but they carried on in secret. Now, purely speculation on my part.
This motherfucker.
But I have the feeling Fritz was writing smut to his wife. I mean, why would you just be like, let me read this?
Did catch
Margot,
him.
No. You know, what?
Did catch him. I mean, you don't just write smut and not touch your penis, and there's always eyes on you in there, so. Oh my god, you couldn't fucking spank the whole time. I just realized.
Oh, I'm sure you could.
No.
Have you never been on vacation with your family before? I mean, come on.
I don't spank it on vacation with my family, Jordan.
Wow, really?
Well, I mean, also...
How long of a vacation are we talking?
I didn't ever go on, like, vacation, so...
Were you never on a mission where you're away for months teaching the teachings of Christ?
No, the only...
Where you're supposed to spank it behind the nearest hut? No. You go down to the watering hole like anyone else.
No, that's just a period of non-spankage. There's a word for that. What is it?
Saintly? Celibacy?
Yes.
Involuntary.
Yeah.
Involuntary Never mind, we're not going to... Fritz is a fucking incel. Just no.
No, there's no way you could beat it while hiding from... I'm not doing
I suppose this is involuntary celibacy, actually. This whole situation.
Yes.
That's fair. Yeah.
Actual inceldom.
Fuck.
It's fine.
That knot in the wood is looking mighty skeezy.
I don't know. Have you ever had to not spank it for like a long period of time? Just because
course.
You were constantly... Yeah, it's fine. It's not a big deal.
I'm sure it's
fine.
But God, you wish.
I mean, not really.
Anyway.
Okay.
Here's the thing. While the Franks and the Van Pels did have 3 floors to go between, it's not like it was exactly roomy. So with the addition of one more person, they had to reorganize a bit. Now before, Margot and Anne were roomed together. The Franks weren't going to have this guy they barely know room with their 15-year-old daughter.
Yeah. But
for some reason, they were okay with him rooming with their 13-year-old Anne. So Margot moved all her shit in with her parents, Well, Fritz moved in with Anne, and they fucking hated each other.
That's why they were okay with it.
Oh, probably. Yeah, that could be.
Anne won't be having any of your shit if you do happen to be that way.
Now, according to Anne, Fritz was always bossy and tried to act superior because he's, quote, older and wiser than her, and he was...
He thinks he's some kind of adult.
I mean, he is German, so it's like, you know, of course he's going to be all like, you know, this is the way things must be done. Wait, they're very efficient.
Yeah, but that's the other Germans.
They're all like that. I'm not saying they're all Nazis. I'm just saying they're all very, you know, like... I've heard Germans trying to tell me a joke before.
That was like a Nazi thing you
not
just did.
Funny. That was a German accent.
It's not.
Wow, what are you trying to say, Caleb?
No, you know what I meant. Fuck you. You bastard.
So anyways, yeah, Fritz was very Orthodox Jewish, while Anne wasn't, and he probably had something to say about that. But controversial opinion here, this man has watched his family die, one by one, and had to send his own fucking son away, probably knowing he'd never see them again. And I know you're not supposed to pick on innocent Holocaust victims here, but she's 13. Poor Fritz just wants to see his Charlotte again. He has to room with this fucking child. I know she's innocent. I know it's sad, but she's still a 13-year-old. Like, you can only deal with so much. And it's well, and that's the thing, though. We can only take Anne's side of things. It wasn't so much that she was doing...
We're just going to go ahead and do that. We're just going to...
Well, we're going to have to. Yeah. She's the only voice in this story.
Yeah.
It wasn't so much that she was doing all this name-calling towards Fritz. I mean, like, it wasn't that bad. Because she does do that. She insults him.
It wasn't that bad.
Of insults. Because, again, she's 13. She's not thinking up that great
stuff.
Not
the situation.
Yeah.
Fuck.
It was more that she would write out the conversation between herself and Fritz, where she's just being super nice and understanding, and he's just a great big asshole. And having been a teenager, I don't know how much I can believe a teenager in those regards. Like, yeah. And there I was. I said, please, Mr. Fritz, I'm just minding my own business. And then he stomped in and he was like, I fucking hate children. Brum, brum, brum. You know, and then he tried to punch me. It's like, yeah, no, I'm not going to fucking, no.
Yeah, no.
It's a bunch of embellished storytelling.
I never listen to children if they tell me someone's beating them. I don't believe it.
I don't believe you.
Like,
you probably ran into doors and fell downstairs.
Yes, but what did you do? I keep timing that bad with your chugs. Sorry, man.
You just like to hear
How's your chest? Did you have a little bit of it?
Choke, don't you? No, we might as well get into the dark humor here on the Anne Frank episode.
What do you mean the end? That's the entirety of the...
No, the Anne Frank episode.
That's the whole episode because it's about the Holocaust.
You know what's worse than getting a worm in your apple? And that's the thing. We can really only take... Oh, sorry, I read that part. But of course, tensions were high for everyone against everyone. Anne took issue with both the Van Pel's parents lashing out against August for trying to be a second mother towards her, so long as it was only about reprimanding Anne and nothing else. In her diary, she'd call August foolish and Herman selfish. And of course, what would a teenager be without resentment towards their mother? And to me, this is just a big example of how human Anne Frank truly was. She said some horrendous shit about her mom, Edith, that, had she lived to look back on her writings, would be totally embarrassed by it. Anne stated that, quote, I'm the opposite of mother, so of course we clash. I don't mean to judge her. I don't have that right. I'm simply looking at her as a mother. She's not a mother to me. I have to mother myself. I've cut myself adrift from them. I'm charting my own course, and we'll see where it leads me. I have no choice, because I can picture what a mother and a wife should be, and can't seem to find anything of the sort in the woman I'm supposed to call, quote-unquote, mother. But when...
Yeah, she's 13.
Yeah. Oh, now it's okay.
Yeah.
But when Anne looked back on some undetermined date, wrote underneath this entry, oh, Anne, how could you? So she had the remorse, too, at least. But Anne totally did feel singled out by her mother. Quote, you can easily see the difference between the way they deal with Margot and the way they deal with me. For example, Margot broke the vacuum cleaner, and because of that, we've been without light the rest of the day.
What?
I don't know.
I'm really confused about that.
I think maybe she...
I have so many questions here. Like, one, how...
Why would you run a vacuum cleaner? Well, okay,
That's question number one. Question number two is, what the fuck does that have to do with the lights if the vacuum cleaner breaks?
Okay, so here's my thought on that. The very least,
is the vacuum cleaner code for the massager?
Wow, really?
What?
The vacuum cleaner is... I know this part. So back in the day, they didn't have vacuum cleaners that actually like sucked in. All that they did was they like basically hit a foot pedal that would blow out. Sorry, don't let the word suck and blow trigger you at all. But
oh no, I'm spacing out. I'm sorry.
It's basically just you're blowing dust out, and it kind of just resettles. It was a really shitty form. You know, the guy who invented the vacuum cleaner, how he found out it was a good idea? He thought, what if you suck in rather than blow out? And he was sitting in a restaurant, and so to test his theory, he spread the cushions between the backrest and the thing.
Do you know
and
this?
He went, and he was like, "It works."
Are you blowing this out of your ass right now?
No. Why do I know that? Because I heard it once, and I'm never going to forget that. Because that's fucking disgusting.
Yeah, I'd never do that.
Can you imagine the trail mix he got?
Not even for money.
Just random M&Ms and peanut shavings. Christ, ill. Anyway, I don't know about the light
they had back then. I don't know. Like,
I don't know about the light itself. Like, I maybe it shut off a breaker.
No, but them vacuuming in there is really hilarious. Like God damn it! I can't joke about anything. Jordan,
just let it flow.
No,
let it flow from.
I cannot.
It's like, Jeet Kune Do. You must be like water.
This is like no.
To continue with the quote, Mother
this is
said...
like an N-bomb for an entire episode if we do that.
What do you mean?
I don't know. I don't know the word.
I don't know any words that start with N. Which ones?
Wait, is it worse if we don't acknowledge the Yes, it is. But never mind. Go on.
Okay. So, Mother said, well, Margot, it's easy to see you're not used to working. Otherwise, you'd have known better than to yank the plug out by the cord. Which is weird because I think we all do that. Margot made some reply, and that was the end of the story. But this afternoon, when I wanted to rewrite something on Mother's shopping list because her handwriting is so hard to read, she wouldn't let me. She ticked me off again, and the whole family got involved. End quote. But it wasn't just her mother that Anne felt singled out by. Mrs. Van Pels had a pile of books that she really valued. Peter would often grab a book about female anatomy, clearly to jerk off to, and Margot was allowed to read it because she's smart. But Anne wasn't allowed to read it because she wasn't mature enough. But it was okay for Peter because he's just a naturally curious boy. Like, I clearly remember the whole scene too, where they're all eating dinner on like the lowest floor, and he's just like, this is well, I'm done with dinner. I'm gonna go read.
I need privacy to read.
Yeah, like everyone knew, like that is, oh God. Anyway, this went for pretty much all of Mrs. Van Pel's books, though. Everyone else could read them except Anne because Anne's a dipshit. One time Anne was talking mad shit about Mrs. Van Pel's...
Again. Again.
No, that's not my feelings.
That's not a quote either. Shut up.
One time Anne was talking mad shit about Mrs. Van Pels in her diary, and Mrs. Van Pels walks in, and Anne just slams her diary shut, and stares at her all inconspicuous like, and Mrs. Van Pels is like, "Hi, Anne, what you writing about?" "Nothing." "Oh, can I see?" "No." "Not even just the last page you were writing?" "No."
You can't see anybody's diary.
No.
You especially can't, publish it and make it required reading.
Well, you sure can.
Fucking apparently, Jesus.
We'll get to that probably on second episode, but there's definitely an abridged and an unabridged version.
Wait, this is a two-parter?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, fuck. Right.
Are you kidding me? And apparently, Mrs. Van Pels was into Otto quite a bit.
Two-parter?
Oh, yeah, we're going through this twice.
We have 2 episodes?
Oh, yeah.
Of fucking...
Brother, I'm not even halfway done.
This is gonna... We can't...
Yeah, we're gonna bum you out for a while.
But 2 episodes of jokes about Anne Frank.
Well, don't joke about it.
I can't... That's the whole thing. That's the whole...
Have you tried being a better person?
A couple times.
Well, apparently Mrs. Van Pels was into Anne's father, Otto, quite a bit, being a flirt, speaking softly to him, hiking up her skirt a bit. Yeah.
Who? What? Sorry.
This is Mrs. Van Pels, the other wife. She was really into Anne's dad.
Okay, thank you. I have a hard time following these things.
Yeah, for real, though. Like, Otto confided in Anne that he just wasn't into ugly chicks, so he's fine.
No, he did.
Yeah, he did.
Oh.
He was like, she was really worried, like, are you and Mom going to fight about this and anything? And he's like, look, she's not for me. It's harsh, but I mean, and holy shit, did people get sick of each other quick, too.
I'm surprised we haven't already gone into that. Like,
oh, we're doing it. Especially Mr. and Mrs. Van Pels, who oftentimes had the rest of those in the annex on standby in case they had to be pulled apart. Like, can you imagine just getting into the arguments like, I told you I wasn't going to do anything with the fucking dishes. I told you it's your turn. You should have done it. It's your fucking turn. I told you all. You know, like just fucking back and forth.
Just like, if I kill one of them, who are they going to tell?
This might resolve itself. All right, so this is an educational podcast. So I'm going to give you a choice here.
Is it?
I'm going to give you one of two options.
Oh.
Would you rather hear about Anne Frank's period or Anne Frank's sexuality?
Oh, dude, I'm gonna level with you. That I think this is one of the worst spots you ever put me in.
I need you to say it into the microphone too.
And you fucked me in my ass.
I want to hear about Anne Frank's blank. You just have to either say period or sexuality. It's your choice.
And we're gonna go ahead and take a little breaky poo.
Have you had time to think about this?
I need another moment.
All right.
I fucking hate you, dude.
Yeah.
Okay, you got a coin?
You want to flip a coin?
I want to flip a coin on this one. I don't want... Because that at least frees me from being the one who made this decision. Go get a coin.
I don't know where a fucking...
You got all kinds of trinkets in here. You don't got a fucking little, this dipshit little collector coin? You got your Viking hats and globes and dumb little dolls and panties? Those are panties.
It feels like you're lashing out.
No, I am stalling.
I don't have a coin. Okay. What would you rather listen to? Come on.
Okay. Oh god, there's no bottle caps.
Okay, you know what? Pick a number between 1 and 2.
1?
Okay, well then, of course, that's the first one. So you would rather hear about Anne Frank's period? Is that what you're saying?
I picked 1.
Go ahead and say it.
I picked 1?
Well,
I would like to hear about Anne Frank's period, Jordan.
But let's see, that's about an hour and a minute in. All right.
Fuck you, man.
Well, we're going to cover both, actually.
Correct.
Quote.
Fuck you, man! God!
Quote, once when I was spending at the night at Jacques, I could no longer restrain my curiosity about her body, which she'd always hidden from me and which I'd never seen. I asked her whether, as proof of our friendship, we could touch each other's breasts. Jacques refused. I also had a terrible desire to kiss her, which I did. Every time I see a female nude, such as the Venus in my art history book, I go into ecstasy. Sometimes I find them so exquisite I have to struggle to hold back my tears.
Why was this published?
If only I had a girlfriend.
Why?
It initially wasn't. End quote.
Why did it get published in the future?
Curiosity.
And we don't have enough fucking respect to just who's responsible for that?
We'll go into that next episode. Anyways, and I know people take this passage, they like to cut this out as some sort of evidence towards Anne Frank's lesbianism. But dude, she talks more about being in love with a childhood boy than she talks about feeling up her friend. Personally, it sounds more to me like a kid going through puberty and having to understand the million sudden sexual thoughts running through her head than evidence of anything else. people really like to take that passage and act as if it's like it's a thing with her. And
it's really fucked up because all they're doing is trying to, what's the word for it? Like sensationalize, or they're making,
of course.
They're trying to like make a spectacle and they're fucking capitalizing on
Here's
that.
the thing.
Like,
had Anne Frank lived till the time that she was like 18 or 19 or something, she would have found this diary in a box, looked at it, and been like, throwing this away. You all had the ability to do that. She didn't.
You also had the ability to not include it in the podcast, but here we are, you motherfucker.
You're all here with us now, and you ought to be ashamed of yourselves. Especially Caleb.
I'm here with you, listeners.
At
the mercy of this fat pig man.
Oh, man.
Who's telling me about Anne Frank's sexuality.
Well, you want to hear about her period. She was so excited to get communists in the summer house. She felt it truly marked her as a lady. What's the matter there? Luckily for you, this is about as much as we would talk about it. I just really wanted to say the words Anne Frank's period. It's a great band name. Anyway, here she is talking about her.
What is taking you back? You wrote it.
Oh.
What do you got? What are you looking at?
I didn't want to say the word vagina, so I put virginer, and I was like, is that Dutch?
Out of everything we've talked about today, you're afraid to say vagina.
Well, here she is talking about her vagina. Quote, okay. How on earth can you explain what it looks like without any models? Shall I try anyway? Okay, here it goes. And we're not, she really does go into it, which I will not. I just wanted to kind of freak you out.
Well, you have accomplished your goal, sir.
I had typed up the paragraph and I was like, nah. I was like, wait, we don't need to hear this from Anne Frank.
Oh, man.
Well, Anne and Peter, you remember the Van Pel's child? He's 2 years older. They quickly became a complicated relationship. Anne, at first, was not about Peter, but over time, they were hanging out in their rooms alone, but according to Anne, just gentle hand-holding, nothing more. But as Peter started to become more intimate with Anne, she quickly became disinterested. But you know, it's not like Anne hated everyone. Her father's secretary, Bep, although older by about 10 years, was a very good friend of Anne's. She often supplied Anne with fresh pages so Anne could continue her diary as well as working on short stories. As a matter of fact, one fall evening, Anne asked Bep if she'd like to do a sleepover with them in the secret annex. Like, just this once, just do a little girl sleepover. And she actually did it. But she was fucking terrified the whole time and she didn't sleep at all. And then when the morning came, she had to go back to work. As Bep describes it, quote, I was terrified. Every time I heard a tree creaking in the October wind or a car driving along the canal, I grew afraid, end quote. Apparently, she told Anne it was because she had wine with dinner and it kept her up all night. Anyone who's had wine before could tell you that's absolute bullshit. It'll knock you the fuck out.
Yeah, well, Anne hadn't, so...
Yeah, exactly. Why couldn't you fall asleep? Because I'm 22. That's all you need to know.
You don't sleep after 20.
You really can catch that part in the in her diary, too, though. Like, she'll be like, oh, poor Bep, she didn't sleep a wink all night. She said it's because she had wine. And
so is Bep just some random...
She's like Bep
somebody that isn't like a regular German?
She's like she's a secretary to the factory. She's one of the main three people that help them. Not a Jew. No, she's not.
Okay.
Yeah. Meanwhile...
Surprised she's not terrified all the time.
We'll get to that too. Meanwhile, the other secretary, Meep, was a fucking badass. Let me tell you, she'd be a model prisoner because, man, she didn't say shit. She and her husband, a member of the the Dutch resistance, by the way, were hiding an entirely different family than the Franks. And she was smart about it, too. She never contacted the family during business hours. She only loaded up one bag of groceries a day to split between both families she was hiding and herself. All while truckloads...
That way, if she gets caught, she only loses one.
All while truckloads of Jews were being driven by her to nearby concentration camps on her way to help the Franks. And honestly, we really only know about that because of the other family that came out and was like, yeah, dude, she helped us too. And it was like, hey, they claimed that you helped her. Like, what's the code word? Squirrel? Yeah, I helped them. Like, she didn't say shit. Over the course of time the family spent locked away, Anne talked about her aspirations. She wanted to become a journalist, and both her and her sister Margot were excited to return to school. By the end of their 761 days in the secret annex, everyone was sick of each other. They were disoriented. There was cat piss everywhere from one of the 2 warehouse cats that would often sneak in.
Motherfucker.
It's always going to happen.
The beatdown I would have put on that cat.
Dated August 1st.
Especially just like picture being sick of everybody and then you fucking see the cat that's been sneaking in, pissing and everything. You're going to lose your fucking mind on that thing. Like that's now going to become the outlet of all of your rage. I'm surprised that thing didn't get just fucking murked by somebody. Like,
yeah, just like, what was that from behind the wall? What the fuck? Like,
dude, for real.
Yeah. You know that shit smells
This shows some
too.
serious fucking restraint from those motherfuckers that cat didn't get dead as fuck. Like.
Dated August 1st. Oh, well, but they were the warehouse cats. They kept the rats out of the spices and everything, so everyone just let them go. Can you imagine? They're probably pissing in the fucking spices too, though. Like, go ahead and just dig your hand into there, the black pepper, and that's a dookie.
Well,
we'll just toss
Jordan,
that right out.
Call back to another episode. Would you rather have rat piss or cat piss on your beer? You must choose, but choose wisely.
Rat piss will kill people. I know rat turds do.
Okay.
I'm going to go with cat.
You know, kitty?
I'm going to go with kitty.
All right. Go on.
Now, dated August 1st, 1944, Anne Frank's final diary entry has her reflect on 2 sides of herself, which she calls the nice Anne and the other side simply named Anne. Quote, "A voice within me is sobbing. You see, that's what's become of you. You're surrounded by negative opinions, dismayed looks, and mocking faces, people who dislike you, and all because you don't listen to the advice of your own better half. Believe me, I'd like to listen, but it doesn't work. Because if I'm quiet and serious, everyone thinks I'm putting on a new act, and I have to save myself with a new joke. And then I'm not even talking about my own family, who assume I must be ill, stuff me with aspirins and sedatives, feel my neck and forehead to see if I have a temperature, ask about my bowel movements, and berate me for being in a bad mood, until I just can't keep it up anymore. Because when everybody starts hovering over me, I get cross, then sad, and finally end up turning my heart inside out, the bad part on the outside, and the good part on the inside, and keep trying to find a way to become what I'd like to be and what I could be if only there were no other people in the world. Yours, Anne M. Frank." On the morning of August 4th, 1944, piece of shit Nazi Julius Detman received a call that a Jewish family was hiding at the old Opekta factory, now called Gießen Company.
Who the fuck ratted?
He put his shiniest piece of shit, Carl Silberbauer, on the case, saying he received this info from, quote, "a reliable source." And that's where we're going to leave it off. And the rest, as they say, is history. I don't know why it's announced that way.
What the fuck?
I'm going to start saying it at the end of every episode.
Definitely
That's
off
going
with the
to be.
tone there.
Yeah, I don't know. Where do you go from from Anne Frank to like, hey, y'all see this new Twitch streaming site? Got bathtubs, babes, and beaches, and boobs. It's a whole new section. It's great.
Look, man, I don't have an immediate answer for you, but I'm saying maybe we should have thought about it for a while.
I couldn't let you think about it. That'd ruin the surprise.
Yeah, that's fine. No, and preparation.
I'm not going to prep
Preparing.
you. Yeah, I did prepare you for this. I told you it was a children's author, and I didn't lie, did I?
That's not.
She's a child.
All that went through my head is I was like, is Dr. Seuss dead?
Are you fucking kidding me?
No, I'm not. So, yeah, that was a real curveball.
Yeah, he's dead. He's dead, and his name is not Otto. So
I was like, wow, I'm learning a lot about Dr. Seuss. Fucking 45 minutes later, asking me whether I want to hear about her periods or what she's into. The small girl hiding in an attic from Nazis.
Yeah, I learned a lot, and by extension, I'm making you learn quite a bit about Anne Frank and her body.
Yeah, I'm going to hold on to that being... Okay, we're getting into that scene. Like, seriously, who the fuck published those parts of her diary? It's not necessary.
I'll just jump a little bit
like
here
because that is fucked up. Right?
I will, yeah, and I will say this. This is something that we'll get into in much more detail later, but most people know this already. Her dad edited out all those parts. The stuff about her period, her sexuality, all the shit she was saying about her mother. He took all that shit out. And then that was the first version of the book, was just this sweet, young, innocent girl. And then there was more parts that start to come out over time. And I don't know necessarily, I can't remember off the top of my head who released them or if even I found that information, but I'm sure all the papers technically were copyrighted to somebody who was like, this is great shit. Go ahead and put in the stuff about boob touching, like,
dude.
Yeah.
Supremely fucked up.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Oh, dude, I didn't even go into the part about the warehouse cats, but she and Peter, because one cat was boy and one cat was girl, they were checking out the privates and learning what it was like to see a boy and a girl. Like, it's very real because this shit happened. And she unfortunately didn't have anything else to do than write.
Yeah, I know, but like she also wasn't intending on publishing it. Ever.
Well, not those parts.
Yeah, exactly.
Because what I said earlier was...
At no point was she intending to have like a bunch of people fucking look over her goddamn diary.
Well, because basically what it was in the... Like, before they even hid, the Dutch government said over the radio, they were like, this is horrific shit that's happening. We need to document this as a people. Because you know what's going to happen? People are going to start denying this shit ever happened. We're calling it now. People are going to deny that the Holocaust happened.
Do you think anyone would be that stupid?
I like to say no. And we're going to go into Holocaust denial in the second episode as well. Because that shit happened immediately. It was so fast. It happened while it was still happening. And it carried on from there.
Of course it happened while it's still happening. It's easier for them if they think it's not happening.
Oh, true. But, I mean, I thought that shit cropped up in, like, the 70s, or something. It didn't. No. It was immediate. And so, yeah, the Dutch government was like, everybody record everything that happens because this needs to be verified by sources of like source A to source B who lives on the other side of town that don't know one another, and yet their stories collaborate, or corroborate one another. Like they knew what they were doing. So she was writing down stuff, but I'm sure that she figured, I'm going to live. I'm going to edit out certain parts. And then I'm going to release
nobody's
it.
Just going to find the diary.
Yeah, it was pretty much version A.
And even if somebody just found the diary, who would be so fucked up as to just publish the whole thing?
Yeah, exactly. Well, they didn't initially.
Yeah, but then later.
Yeah, no, I got the unabridged version, which is not the version that they typically have you read in high school.
Yeah,
if at all. We didn't even read it in high school. I think we touched on the Holocaust in like sixth grade.
Yeah, I think
something.
I think I had mine in like middle school.
Yeah, which is a harsh reset from like,
this when we did Anne Frank.
You're all in elementary school, you're all fifth graders, yay, hey, silent llama, 1, 2, 3, eyes on me. Okay, we're going to learn about Thanksgiving. And then as soon as you graduate from that, they're going to be like, 6 million Jews, all dead. Like, it's crazy.
So this is a thing that happens? Like, yeah.
Yeah.
I have some questions about Thanksgiving.
You poor bastard.